Welcome back to the Hat House. Today is a what sold video, and the more you know. So there was this hat that I came across. It was called Rebel 8. I had no idea what it was worth. You're going to see it in today's video. It went for over $40. A really interesting brand that I looked up after I found it. And just if you ever come across this logo again, you got to make sure and pick up this brand. It's a good one. Had several other hats going out today that you're going to want to see. Some vintage Nike hats, some Columbia fishing hats, and then something interesting about New Era and the Diamond Collection, the kind of late 90s, early 2000s. Some of them sell for $30. Some of them sell for $10. Let me know what you think and why that happens. And I'll kind of wrap up with my thoughts at the end of the video and let you know why I think that happens. Right now, I'm going to tell you how you can get a free hat. If you want to stick around for the next 30 seconds, then I'll show you how you can get your free hat by following a few easy steps. If you want to get right into the hat sales, then you can skip forward about 30 seconds and we'll see you inside the video. Hey guys, I just wanted to take a moment and let you know how you can get a free hat from the Hat House. All you need to do is like, comment, and subscribe. Then there will be my email address that you can send me an email to in the description. We'll send you one of these hats. This is one of the styles. This is another one of the styles. There's 3 more styles and colors. I'll probably show them up here on the screen right now. And then all you have to do is follow the instructions. It will be a limited time. While the email address is still in the description, I'll still be giving them away. So hurry up and we'll see you soon. Alright guys, we got a few more hats going out right now. We got a Taco Bell hat. Just a regular strap back Taco Bell. You don't see the white one too often, but there you go. Next up, this one was really good. This is a Rebel 8 snapback hat. This one's pretty rare. I think it sold for around 30, maybe a little more. It's made in USA. Next up was a Chick-fil-A hat. Just a regular Chick-fil-A team hat. Next up was a Baby hat. Just a regular strap back. It had the kind of the all over spell out on it. Next up was a vintage Shriners hat. Nashville Shriners. Next up was a combined order. They bought 2 Polo Ralph Lauren dad hats. Next up was a vintage Liz Claiborne hat. See the vintage tag in there. Oregon State Beavers. Top of the world snapback hat. Next up was a Rolling Stones hat. We just unboxed this one if you checked out the unboxing video. Sold pretty quick. Next up was a nice vintage New Era. Great shape. Seattle Mariners Diamond Collection. Really nice hat. It's a different color too than you see. Next up was a vintage corduroy Idaho Vandals. Had the leather strap back. Not the greatest shape, but still really nice. Had 1990. Next up was a Seattle Sounders Adidas hat. I think this one went out on Poshmark. Next up is a John Deere hat by K Products. Just a regular John Deere dad hat. Last up was a Nintendo Wii hat. Went out on Depop as well. We do have a free hat going out today to Michael. Really appreciate him. He followed all the steps to get a free hat. We're going to send it out to snapback American flag with the Lucky Clover on it. These are really cool hats. They do have our branding in it, so they are really cool. I had them special made. Really appreciate Michael. If you want to know how to get a free hat like this, there's 5 different styles. Check the description, follow the instructions. I'll probably put it in the beginning of this video too. So make sure you guys check that out. Good morning everyone. Welcome back to the Hat House. Exciting. Our first hat going out is going to be another free hat. going out to Fart Sack Jack. And yes, he asked me to call him that. That's his username. Really appreciate him. He followed all the steps. He's going to get a free hat. We're going to send it out today. Next up was a stanza horn. Nice hat. Kind of a running. This one actually turns into a visor. You can zip it off. I have never seen one until this one, but this was pretty cool. Next up was a palm beanie. Chicago Bulls, new era. It's almost that time. Beanies will start selling really well. Most of the time, any beanie is between 10. I mean, if you have a really nice one, you might get 25 for it, but most of the time they're 10 to 20. Next up was Los Angeles Lakers. Pretty cool. 2010 champions with a patch on it. This was actually tagged NBA Finals. Next up was a Patagonia hat, and this is one of the Patagonia hats and the logos you want to be on the lookout for. This is like a flying fish logo. Snapback. This one was kind of rough still, had some fading, but this logo right here, and it comes in a big logo on the front too. They can go for a little more than regular Patagonia hats. They're a little more rare, so keep an eye out for that. Then we had a Oregon State Beaver snapback, top of the world camo hat. Next up was a vintage Flippo for Governor. It's a vintage snapback trucker hat. Next up was Arizona Diamondbacks. New era fitted. Next up was a Nike hat, and here's a Nike hat that can sell for a little bit more. You always want to be on the lookout for soccer teams and national or countries written on it with the swoosh. They always do a little better, sell for a little more. Next up was a Grundon's fishing hat, snapback. Next up was a Columbia fishing hat. Don't let people lowball you on these. They'll offer you $10, but this is a $20 to $30 hat. The neck flap on it. There's the Columbia tag. These are really nice hats. Next up was a Nike visor. Nike golf visor. Next up was a Ampleman Berlin. Never seen that logo before. There's a tag. Next up was a Callaway golf hat. Just a strap back dad Callaway golfer hat. Next up was a Dutch Bros coffee hat, strap back. Next up was just a regular Oregon Ducks strap back. Thanks for laughing at me, honey. Next up was Guess jeans snapback. Next up was Under Armour. The Under Armour camo always does a little bit better. Sells faster than the regular Under Armour. Next up was Chicago Cubs. Now this is one I always tell you that it's Diamond Collection. It's really good. New era. And why did this one not sell for very much? Well, one, it's the Cubs, and they were really produced heavily. There's a lot of these hats out there during this time period. And the Cubs are always heavily produced. But then also it was size 7, which is the worst size in hats, in my opinion. It sells for the least because there's a lot of them out there, and then also the size is not the most popular size. If it was smaller, it could do good for kids. They're hard to find sometimes, or if it was a little bit bigger, 7.5, 7 3/8, this would be a $30 hat probably. But had it for a while and let it go. Next up was a nice Nike, vintage Nike hat. The circle logo. This kind of had the felt on it. They always do really well. Here's the vintage Nike tag. Next up was Baltimore Orioles fitted. This one was 7 3/8. Next up was the Seattle Mariners. This one was cool because it had like their spring training in Arizona. Side hit 3930 flex fit. Next up was a Scoresby Scottish whiskey strap back hat. Next up was Florida State Seminoles. This was a top of the world snapback. Next up was an Adidas visor, sweat visor is what I called it. It's kind of this sweat material. It was a little different. Still had the tags on it. Our last hat was a Seattle Mariners. This was like a stadium promo giveaway hat. I usually put them on Macari or Poshmark. Okay, that was everything that sold today. I'm always going to show you everything, whether it be a $5 hat, a $10 hat, or a $40 to $50 hat. I'm going to show you everything. And now comes the part where you can do something for me for free, and that's hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. I did want to talk a little more about the new era. I misspoke at the beginning of the video, and I said late 90s, early 2000s. Most of the diamond collection was between the 90s and 2000. So that's kind of the era we're talking about. And what we're really looking at here is size and style. And you've really got to dig deep into the size and style to know what kind of pricing you have. Kind of like I said in the video, Cubs was really mass produced as a team. So the price of it comes down a little bit. And that Seattle Mariners, I believe, was an away. And that's what I got to do better at. I'm always trying to learn too. And if you could really start learning the home and away colors, some of those are more rare. And if you can put those in your titles, sometimes that will really help sell that hat too, and help you get the most bang for the buck. And there's one last tip that I want to give you guys, especially if you're out there buying hats or buying them in bulk. A lot of sellers will go through and they'll take out like these size 7s and they'll try to sell them off in bulk and try to get good money for those sizes. Just really know when you're selling hats what sizes are selling the best, what colors and styles and teams are selling. So when you're looking at buying bulk, you're not buying somebody's odd sizes, or you're not taking their kind of junk and then you're trying to sell it and not able to get the kind of prices that you want. I've done that before. I went and bought a bunch of size 7 diamond collection, thought, hey, these are $30 a piece, but ended up only getting 10 to 15 for most of those styles. So be careful out there while you're sourcing. Make sure you do your due diligence and check out what size and styles, and make sure you're getting what you pay for. Until next time, guys, we'll see you soon.